Dear students, welcome to another lecture in industrial engineering. Today, let us first deal with this topic supply chain management, and then we'll move on to the further topics. Supply chain management, this may be for the first time you may be hearing at the diploma level. You see, supply chain management is defined here as the broad range of activities which are required to plan, control, and execute a product's flow from materials to production to distribution in the most economical way possible. You see, if you are designing a product, that product, it may be existing as raw material somewhere, as if you are running an industry, you have to get those raw materials from wherever they're existing. You have to bring to the plant, and you have to proceed to the production of the production of the goods whichever you are going to produce from that raw material. And from there, after the production is done, you have to distribute to the end user in the most economical way possible. So this is a broad range of all activities, range of activities which are required. You have to plan it, you have to control, you have to execute all the flow of the materials. You see, supply chain management nowadays, this has become of greater importance. I saw people doing their PhDs also in supply chain management. Okay, so all this goods transport and everything comes under supply chain management. Okay, so let us read on further. It encompasses, that means it includes, of a network of interconnected businesses involved in the provision of the product and service packages required by the end user in a supply chain. See, normally supply chain means, for you to easy to understand, you see, here we are talking a broader thing, but you can say, see, once to understand, we can say that once a company is produced in the factory, and that how it is coming to the end user. You see, for first, the company may set up some stockists somewhere in different cities. So those stockists may be giving to the wholesalers, and from those wholesalers they may be passing on to retailers, and from the retailers we may be going and purchasing. Okay, you see, it depends upon the on different companies. How many people will be there in the middle, all these in the middle, in the chain. How many people, it depends upon the product and the volume and the company and all those things. But anyway, you can say, you see, now the retailer, the wholesaler, retailer, these form a part of the supply chain on the consumer side. Similarly, on the producer side also, he will have to get the raw material from somewhere. Okay, so that movement of the goods to the industry also, the company where it is being produced, that also becomes part of the supply chain. See, that's what in this definition, it is all the broad range of activities which are which are flowing from materials to production to distribution. Okay, see, the three things: from the materials place, availability of the material, it has to come to the production unit, and from there, after the production, should go to the distributor or the end user. Okay, and now the activities that are involved is a plan. You have to plan it, you have to control it, you have to execute it. See, planning means, you see, suppose you are getting milk, in your place. Suppose you are getting Amul milk. You see, Amul milk, The Amul milk may be reaching so many different and far-flung cities also. You see, for that you have to plan, how you are going to distribute, how many, how many trucks are needed for transporting, what types of trucks are needed, when will they start, when will they stop, where will they go, where will they load, where will they unload, when will they return, all those things you have to plan. And you have to control also. This is just putting on the paper is not sufficient. You have to control. See, whether the person has come or not, whether he has taken the load or not, whether he's started from there or not, and planning, controlling, executing of all those things come under supply chain management. Okay, it involves handling. See, I'm reading the third bullet point here. It involves handling of all movement and storage, the movement also, and as well as the storage also, they're talking about movement and storage of the raw materials, work in process, inventory, and finished goods. You see, all the three different things they are talking about. They are talking about the raw material. That means where we have not yet started to work. It is in the raw material form. Work in progress in process in inventory means you see, it may be in the semi-finished goods state. At a different how much of work is done. See, till the final work is done, it is in the semi-finished state, or you can say like it is work in progress inventory. And the third thing is the finished good. And once the finished good, it from the point of origin to the point of consumption. See, the raw materials also from the point of origin to the point of consumption, and also the finished goods also from the point of origin to the consumption. And you may say that even the semi-finished goods from one machine to another machine moving, those things also. The handling of the handling of all the movement of the materials, this supply chain management handles. Okay, see, supply chain management in short, it can be SCM short for supply chain management. It manages supply chain, the supply chain's activities, what for? To maximize customer value and achieve a sustainable, repetitive, competitive advantage. You see, if we are supplying Amul milk, what time the Amul milk should be available. You see, early in the morning people rise up, maybe some people rise up at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. At that time milk should be available. See, you have to plan in such a way that the milk will be available in their respective cities by that time. You see, otherwise you will lose the competitive advantage. Suppose the local milk is available, and this Amul milk, which is so much of a brand name, and it is distributed among so many cities. If that doesn't arrive on time, then people will not be willing to wait. They lose the competitive advantage. Okay, so you have to maximize the customer value and achieve sustainable competitive advantage. You see, and also see, locally what material is being what milk is being sold, at what rates it is being sold, that also you should keep in mind while pricing your product. Otherwise you will lose the competitive advantage. See, your product should be of a better quality, of a longer shelf value, and also it is readily available, and at the time where you want, at the time you want it to be available. Then only you will be able to maximize the customer value, and you can sustain the competitive advantage. Okay, see, the supply chain management represents a conscious effort by the supply chain firms to develop and run supply chains in the most effective and efficient ways possible. You see, nowadays so many other businesses have come. You see, it is not that all the trucks that they're employing, all the small autos and goods carriers that they are employing, they're all owned by Amul company. You see, their Amul milk is being transported. There are other people, small scale and large scale, you can say businesses who are into this. Okay, so what we are saying is, what we are saying is this supply chain management represents, it's a conscious effort. It is not, say by itself it is taking place. You have to put the efforts consciously, meticulously. You have to plan, you have to control, you have to execute all the activities and the efforts uh, of these supply chain firm means who are into these logistic businesses, these transport businesses. These are the people, supply chain firms, to develop and run supply chains in the most effective and efficient ways possible. You see, when you are reading newspaper should be available as soon as you get up. Otherwise, who is going to purchase your newspaper? You see, and it is the responsibility of the people who are who are managing the supply chain, for them to plan in such a way that the newspaper reaches your city early in the morning. Okay, I'm only giving you one or two examples. This applies for each and everything. Okay, see, supply chain activities cover everything from product development, sourcing, production, and logistics, as well as information systems needed to coordinate these activities. See, here, as part of this our diploma studies, we are not dealing in depth into all these things. Okay, so only a brief, introduction you can say about the supply chain we are seeing. I think in your practicals we will see a more detailed, the assignment about supply chain. Okay, so the supply chain activities is not only covering logistic, it is covering the everything from the product development to sourcing, production, and finally the logistics part also. And also information systems needed to coordinate. You see, information systems, you may be selling only milk, but so many, so many software, computers, data entry operators, the people who are what we should say, software engineers, all those people need to be working. You see, gone are the days when the bank was dealing only with money. See, now how many software are required to run a bank. Okay, so like that, you see, all the information systems also come into thing, into the play. And the logistics also. Logistics means mainly transport and other things. And in the production also, even the production stage, parts moving from one machine to another machine, one plant to another plant, all these things are being covered in the supply chain. And to accomplish the task of supply chain management, a company will create a network of suppliers that move the product along from the suppliers of raw materials to the organization who deal directly with users. See, now nowadays people are calling as channel partners also, supply chain channel partners. Okay, there may be little bit of different meaning for these words, but at our level we can say these are all helping the supply chain management only. So see, supply chain management, to accomplish the supply chain management, what you have to do is a company will create a network of suppliers. You need a network of people who will be doing it, who are moving the product along from the suppliers of raw materials to the organizers, and from the organization to the end users. Okay, you need to create a network of suppliers. Then supply chain management activities have the ability to ensure customer satisfaction by making certain that the necessary products are available at correct location at the right time. This is what I was telling you before. You see, it should be available at the correct location and at the correct time. You see, otherwise it'll lose its value. You see, so most of those, many of the things now are perishable goods. They have low shelf value, shelf uh, what yeah, shelf value. Okay, so they can't stay for a long time. Milk, you see, if you want to preserve, then you need freezers and other things. You see, if you keep outside, the milk will get spoiled. Okay, so but if you don't have such facilities, you should be able to sell within that stipulated time. Okay, by increasing the customer satisfaction levels, enterprises are able to build and improve customer loyalty. You see, for ultimate goal, as a company, when you are dealing with customers, ultimate goal will be customer satisfaction, and your customer is satisfied, then you will continue long many days in your business. Okay, otherwise you will lose business, you will lose customers, and you will have to close up, pack up, you will go bankrupt. Okay, that's why, see, this should be our goal always. Our customer should be satisfied, and the customer satisfaction levels should be high. You should be getting 5-star rating, then only customers will be loyal to you. Okay, otherwise you'll be losing. They should not feel that you are being that they are taking the customer is being taken for a ride. They should not feel. Okay, so this is about the supply chain management. Now let us move to the next topic. Okay, next topic is introduction to process engineering. Now, process engineering, this is another word that we are coming across now. See, process engineering, sometimes it is also called as process planning. So there are two names for this here: process engineering and process planning. Okay, planning is only one activity, but when you say engineering, it includes other things apart from the planning also, you can say like that. That's why we are using the word, the phrase process engineering. See, the process engineering is a system or a process which is responsible for the conversion of raw material into finished product by the most economical way within the limits of design specifications. You see, design specifications are given by the design department. Okay, so now the process engineering has nothing to do with the design specifications. You see, whatever the design specifications are given to them, now they are responsible for what? To convert the raw material into the finished goods, and while doing that, you have to do it in the most economical way. That means you should be economic with respect to money, with respect to machine time, with respect to man hours, and with respect to the supplies, other things. Okay, you should be most economical. That means you should be able to use the optimum amount of value, optimum amount of these things only. There should not be any wastage. You should avoid that wastage. Okay, so now what process engineers are responsible for? What they are responsible for: converting the raw material into the finished product. Okay, another definition is there here in the it is given like this: the systematic determination of processes. That means which process will convert that raw material into finished good, that you have to decide, you have to determine. Okay, systematic determination of the process by which a product is to be manufactured economically and competitively. You have to do it economically. That means the least amount of expense it should be, and competitively. You see, just because you're compromising in compromising by spending less, your product should not be of less quality, otherwise you will lose the competitive advantage. See, the customer should get the best value for his money. Okay, so otherwise, no, why the customer will be loyal to you? Okay, so there is another definition here. Process engineering is determining the most appropriate manufacturing process. Here also we said the same thing, determination of process, and the sequence in which they should be performed. That means which should come first, which should follow next. That there is the sequence in which they should be performed, and to produce a given part or product specified by design engineering. So these design engineers have given you a design. Now you have to, what you should do, you have to determine the process, manufacturing process, how you are going to achieve this. Okay, you have to design it, you have to determine it, and you have to decide the sequence of operations that you will perform on it. Okay, this is coming under process engineering. Process engineering is a function within a manufacturing facility that establishes the processes and process parameters to be used. Now here they are talking about some more thing. Process parameters. You see, process parameters means, if you're working on a lathe machine, at what speed and what depth of cut you will be using. So those are the process parameters, for a lathe machine. If you're working on lathe machine, okay. So similarly, for other processes, other parameters will be there. You have to determine those things also. Okay. So not only establishing the processes, not only selecting the sequence of events, sequence of those processes, but also selecting of or establishing of the process parameters to be used for converting the raw material to the finished good. Okay, see, process engineering is an intermediate stage. Intermediate stage means in between. In between what? It is in between the design department and the final manufacture of the product. Now process engineering is coming in the middle most of the times. Some product manufacturing, maybe manufacturing and process engineering, there may not be a clear-cut differentiation between those things, but anyway, so this is a stage which is coming up after the design engineering. Okay, the process planning, it consists of activities like determining the sequence of operations to be performed. This we have seen before. Then selecting of the proper machines. This also we have seen. Then specifying of tools. Which of the tools you are going to use. With specification of jigs. Specification of fixtures. All these things also come under process engineering or process planning. Specifying the material to be used. Which material you are going to use for it. And giving the details like speed, feed, depth of cut, specifying the inspection stages, where you should inspect it, at what stage you should inspect it, where you should measure with the help of your measuring instruments. All these things, these are the various activities which come under process engineering. So process engineering begins with the product designing. When the product designing is completed, that's what we said. First design comes, next comes process planning. Okay, but the basic processes such as, see, just because we are saying designing is first done, then only process planning comes into picture. But if But at the design stage itself, some of the things we have to consider, like what are the basic processes that you are going to use. Are you going to use casting? Are you going to use forging? Or are you going to use machining? And what? Okay, such things, these basic processes should be planned during the design stage itself. Okay, that means you should not wait up to the the process engineering department will take care. You should not say. You see the basic process. You see, for everything, there is for producing something there may be a basic process by which this is produced, and then other miscellaneous processes or some supporting processes which will be going into manufacturing of a product. Okay, if the basic process is casting, then you have to at the design stage itself you have to think, oh, we are going to design by casting, so if we are doing casting, so these are the things we should keep in mind while designing. Or if you are thinking of producing by forging, then for forging, as a design engineer, what you should keep in mind, that you should pay attention to at the design stage itself. Okay, but for the other miscellaneous and other functions, other processes apart from the basic process, you can, as a process engineer, you can decide at a later stage. Okay, the inputs to the process planning are the modified or final drawings or part prints. You see, first the design engineer, what he does, he designs the product, and uh, he makes a drawing, detailed drawing. Drawing means not art drawing or engineering drawing, or a machine drawing, that they will put it on paper, and they will give to the process engineering department. Now the process engineering people, it is their responsibility now to see whether these drawings they'll be able to produce. If not, what problems, when they are looking from their perspective, from their viewpoint. See, the design engineer may not have thought on those lines. You will say, no, 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 this here, you have to change this, otherwise, no, this problem we are going to face, or something like that they may say. So after consulting with the process department, process engineering, then now the design engineer will modify a little, and there may be requirement for modification, and you will get a final drawing. Okay, so once the final drawings are given, and they will give the drawings of each and every part, also the part drawings. Okay, these part drawings are part prints. These are the things which will be working as inputs to the process planning. Okay, process engineering is different from the product engineering. See, now there are two things, there may be confusion. Process engineering, process means the process, the procedure, the way that you are going to convert the raw material into a finished good. Whereas product engineer is something different. Okay, so what is it? We'll see. In the sense that the latter, that means this product engineering, this designs the product as per the customer requirement. What the product engineers are in engineering does, the product engineering, they try to design the product as per the requirements of the customer. Okay, and the farmer, that means process engineering, this tries to find the optimum way to manufacturing the product. You see, this is manufacturing, and product engineering is designing or incorporating a little, changes into the existing design of a product according to the customer requirements. Okay, so that is only in passing. This is that we should not confuse between process engineering, product engineering. That's why we talked about this point. Okay, so the entire process on the shop floor, from conversion of the a conversion of the product drawing into final product is it is the responsibility of the process engineer. See, the process engineer will be taking care of that. Now, the actual product means, even the production has also come. Actually, in the previous slide, we were saying that this is an intermediate stage between designing and manufacturing. Now, at this stage, we are talking even the manufacturing also included in the process engineering itself. Okay. So otherwise, you can broadly say that there is a design department, there is a process engineering department, and there is a manufacturing department. Otherwise, you can simply say there is a design. So otherwise, we can simply say that there exists one design department and one production department, which includes all this process engineering and manufacturing, everything. Okay. Next, now functions of process engineering. What are the different functions? The process planning. See, in the same place they are talking about process engineering and process planning also. Okay. Anyway, we said it is both are same. Okay. Now here there are a list of 4 different functions. The first function is to determine the basic manufacturing process. What is the basic manufacturing process? Then, basic manufacturing process can be, casting or forging or rolling or extrusion or machining, like that, or welding or whatever like that. So these form the basic manufacturing processes. Once that is determined, then you have to after determining the basic manufacturing process, the other processes also, it may be a little bit of other processes also will be involved. Okay, and then the second function is to determine the sequence of operations. Say first what you should do, next what you should do, and after that what you should do, like that. The sequence of operations you have to determine. The third function is to determine the equipment, which machines you are going to use, which tools you are going to use. Okay, this you have to determine. That is the third function. And the fourth function is to originate the orders for the process revisions if necessary. Suppose you have been doing for some time, some days, and then you thought something we are doing unnecessarily or something we are doing wrong, we need some kind of revision in the process. So this revision of process also should originate in the process engineering department itself. So these things become the functions of process engineering. Now, while performing the process engineering, you need certain information. Okay, so what is that information required for doing this process engineering? Okay, now here is a list of 7 items. Okay, the engineering drawing of the component is needed, and you need the knowledge of manufacturing processes. Thereby you will be able to choose the right manufacturing process. Okay, you need this knowledge. You have to have the knowledge of various tools and fixtures also, tooling and fixtures. You need to different tools and different jigs, fixtures. Okay, all those things, you need to have knowledge of those things as a process engineer. Then resources available in the factory, what are available with us, you see, that you have to see. Then what are the relative costs of various processes? The same thing you can produce on a lathe machine as well as on CNC lathe also, but the cost of the finished product will be different, you see, depending upon how you are manufacturing it. So cost of various processes, the cost of various tooling that you are using, the cost of various raw material also. Okay, so the relative cost you should be able to say. You see, it depends upon the customer how much he is willing to pay. Some people will not compromise because of money. But for most of the people, money will be a big consideration. Okay, so depending upon that, you have to have the knowledge of relative costs of various processes, and you should have the ability to do computations on machining time and cost. You see, not only cost also we have to consider, and also machining time. Suppose the customer doesn't have much time, okay, he wants something urgently, then you should be able to say, see, by what time you will be able to give, but what deadline you will be able to give. Okay, for that you should be able to do the calculations also. The compute, you should be able to compute the timings of the machining times. Okay, and also the computation of cost also. Then the knowledge to use reference books, data books. Okay, the machinability data handbook and other things. You should be able to, you should have the knowledge of using those things, those reference books. Okay, okay, I think today we'll stop here, and we'll continue in the next lecture. Thank you.